masses are going to go through every ailment there is. You can't be worrying about that, because if we can keep worrying about the trouble that the masses are in, we never cultivate anything among ourselves to get to the high level in which the masses going to be a part of. Because ultimately, all this shit got to be destroyed. This shit is over.
I am inevitable.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live again. We are back again. I think you're on mute, bro.
Nah,
All
I
right,
ain't on mute.
Oh,
You hear
okay.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yep,
Oh, all right.
yep. Let us know we coming in clear, y'all.
We
Yeah,
clear?
we clear. We clear on the ear. All right. All right, we gotta get into these topics, y'all. So we got Erika Kirk, allegedly leaked audio from the Epstein files of Erika Kirk talking to an underage girl about meeting Jeffrey Epstein. We're gonna get into that. You know, that surfaced, and that's, you know, kind of like being spread around. So we're gonna get into that. And we got a resurfaced video of Trump back in the 80s talking about going after Iran. So this just shows you how far ahead the plan, how they like to plan 20 years ahead, 20, 30 years ahead. This just proves it right here. We're going to get into it. All right, let me just try to share this real quick. If y'all can't share this live stream out, let people know we live. Let people know we live in full effect. All right, so let me pull this video up.
Yeah, they definitely hit us with a 100-year plan. It's a 100-year plan.
100-year plan.
Yep.
All right. All right, so this is the Erika Kirk video that's floating around, allegedly, because people still trying to, because it sounds just like it. So people are speculating this is it Erika Kirk, because we're gonna get into some other things about her background as well. So this audio is actually from the Epstein files. So this audio is from the Epstein files. I'm gonna try to read off the number of this file, because you know they do they label these files off. All right, so it's EFTA 00276-490.MPA M4A. So that's the file that this audio came from, and I checked it out myself. And it comes from that file. So let's go ahead and get into this real quick. It sounds like her, but people's not really 100% sure. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let me know if y'all can hear it.
26 p.m.
Yep.
Hello? Hey, what's up? Nothing. I talked to Jeffrey, and I'm going to his house tomorrow morning, and I'm taking my son. He's going to set something up for you. Well, like, what do you think? I don't know. I'm going to talk to him tomorrow morning when I go to his house about it. How much? Like, would I get paid? Because last time, this one was 300.
So she got paid
Talk
$800
to
last
him.
time.
I'll talk to him tomorrow, and then I'll bring you in the next day and you can talk to him about it. How much do you make? So, like, I don't know what I want to do, and I just want to get some ideas. So I don't know. You're going to have to talk to him about it. I mean, I don't really work for him like that. I just bring girls to him, and they work for him. So you're going to have to talk to him about it. That's what I'm saying. When you work for him, I'll bring you in, and you can ask him before you work, like, what can I do to make more money? Yeah, well, like, if I'm a teacher, would you get paid more money? How much do you get paid for that? The more you do, the more you get paid. Yeah. Okay, so, I mean, I don't know. Talk to him about it. So, like, want me to bring my sister for you, so, like, you could get paid more or something, or how much a girl? Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm working tomorrow, and me and him are going to put a schedule together for you and your sister. So, I'll call you tomorrow when I leave Jeffrey with the schedule. Alright, well, alright, that's good. That sounds good, but, like, I don't have my phone all the time, so if you guys called me, I'd have to know what time so I could get the phone. Okay, well, what time? Well, why don't you? Okay, I'll leave you a message. That's fine. I'll leave you a message tomorrow. Okay. Alright, bye.
And that was the feds. That was actually a phone tap from the feds as well. So they recorded that call on purpose. So what y'all think? Do that sound like Erika Kirk from what y'all know, how she sound and all that? Because it damn sure sound like her, for sure, for sure. But it's all alleged right now, so it's all alleged. I don't know for sure, it's all alleged. But we did want to get into this real quick, so let's get into this video of uh. All right, so this video is from a channel called Epstein Uncovers. Erika Kirk breaks down after Jeffrey Epstein tapes drop. Miss USA pipeline exposed, because you know she was part of the whole Trump that beauty pageant with Trump when she was 16 years old. So she's been around for a while. She's been around for a long time, and she's been in the mix. So let's go ahead and get into this. All right. Let me know if y'all can hear this real quick.
Nah, no sound.
No sound? Shit.
Uh,
All right. All right. Let me be sure.
it seems like they all part of the gang, don't it? The more
Right.
research you do, you come to find out all of them is down with it. You know, it don't
Right.
even matter who it is. Everybody put in front of us, whether it's Erica Kirk, Trump, you know, Bill, two Bills, Clinton, Gates. It don't
Two
matter.
bill.
They
Right.
they all they all part. They all with it.
Right. And the thing about it is, Bill Gates was in the Epstein's files. It was about him and Epstein uh setting up that whole COVID
Right.
epidemic that happened.
That's crazy.
They was behind that shit. It was in the Epstein file. And you mean to tell me nobody's doing nothing about that? That is crazy to me. That some shit like that could be in the Epstein files and everybody just looking over it. Nobody's saying nothing. That's crazy as
It's
hell.
crazy.
Nobody's going to. It's crazy. Bill Gates ass should be locked up. Bill Gates ass should be locked up.
That's
Him and
wild, bro.
Fauci. Him and Fauci. All right, so let me see if I can restart this real quick.
The internet just
All right. Let me know if y'all can hear
Yep.
it now. We good?
There you go. Yep.
All right. All right. Cool.
exploded. And at the center of it all, a woman most people only know as Charlie Kirk's wife.
It's a coincidence that like this happens to be the university that Jeffrey Epstein was pouring all of his money into, by the way, and he's facilitating models from Romania beginning in 2009. Do you think all of this is just one big coincidence and we are the conspiracy theorists?
That question just became a lot harder to dismiss because when you hear what Erika Kirk said in her own audition tapes that were never supposed to resurface, suddenly everything about her carefully constructed image starts cracking wide open.
You say you got to be on a plane in a half hour and you have to pack your stuff and go, I'm on it. I'm kind of like a gypsy. I don't mind living out of a suitcase. I'm used to it, and that's something that I'm okay with.
Ready to travel anywhere in 30 minutes, living out of suitcases, no questions asked? And now, with whispers of alleged Epstein drive tapes circulating online, Candace Owens firing back at critics, and a so-called Miss USA pipeline theory spreading like wildfire, the question everyone's asking is simple. What exactly was Erika Kirk doing during those missing years? And why does her past keep intersecting with the darkest scandal of the century? Let's get into it. Over the past few weeks, something has been brewing online.
I'm gonna be honest. She's been groomed. She's been groomed from the beginning to basically get put in the position she is now. And to tell you the truth, she's gonna end up being running for some type of office. Watch, because that's what this seems like. They grooming her up to basically preparing her for. That's what
She
that's what
might
I'm
be.
thinking.
She might be a Messiah asset.
Right. Right.
Like intelligence agency, they love using people like this. They recruit them in their teens. That's
Hmm.
the times they recruit, or they recruit them out of college, or they recruit them, out of beauty pageants and shit like that for them to run the honeypot
Yeah.
programs that they got.
Right. Yeah. Elite said vice president. Yeah, they gearing her up for something. Why she gonna wind up getting remarried to somebody else, and then she's gonna end up being, you know, running for some type of office. Cause she's a She's a puppet. So we know that.
And it's the kind of storm that doesn't just blow over. It started with whispers, vague posts, screenshots being passed around private groups. People were talking about something that they called the Epstein drive tapes. Now, let me be clear. No verified documents confirming the existence of these specific tapes have been publicly released. But the rumor of them, that alone was enough to send shockwaves through the internet. Because whenever Jeffrey Epstein's name resurfaces, people pay attention. And this time, the conversation didn't stay focused on Epstein himself. It spiraled outward fast. Within days, online investigators started pulling apart timelines. They started cross-referencing old social media posts. They started digging through archived audition tapes, charity announcements, and pageant records. And one name kept appearing over and over again: Erika Kirk, the wife of the late Charlie Kirk, the woman who stood beside one of the most prominent conservative voices in America, the woman who for years maintained a polished public image as a supportive spouse and Christian mother. But what people are discovering now tells a very different story. Because before Erika became Mrs. Kirk, before the political circles, before the photo ops, before the carefully curated Instagram feed, she was someone else entirely. And that someone was chasing fame harder than almost anyone you've ever seen. Let's rewind, because this didn't start yesterday. Long before Erika became a conservative figurehead's wife, she was making moves, strategic moves, calculated moves. And the pattern is undeniable. Every single man Erika dated during her rise had one thing in common: they were already famous or on their way there. She
Exactly.
wasn't dating nobodies, she was networking. One of her earliest serious relationships was a guy named J.T. Massey, a minor league baseball player with connections and visibility in certain circles. And what were they doing together? Auditioning for reality television, specifically The Amazing Race.
We know each other pretty well, but I'm sure the strain
Wow, I didn't even
and
know this
the
shit.
different challenges that Amazing Race would bring out, you don't really know what to be prepared for. So that the fear of the unknown would be kind of a conflict.
That's Erika and JT pitching themselves as a couple who could handle anything. And look, on the surface, it seems harmless. Two young people trying to get on TV. But watch the rest of that tape. Watch the energy. Watch how she presents herself.
Really handsome.
You look gorgeous. You fixing my, I got a little bacon, babe, that's deep in there. Give them a cleavage. People want cleavage. Showcase it.
This is not the reserved, faith-driven woman people see on camera today. This is someone playing a completely different game. And here's what's wild. Some of those old Instagram posts from that era suggest Erika and JT weren't just casually dating. There are captions and photos that make it look like they might have even been engaged at one point. But JT wasn't the last stop on Erika's fame train. Not even close. Because right around that same period, another audition tape surfaced. This one was for a show called House of DVF, a reality competition connected to legendary fashion designer Diane von Furstenberg. The show ran.
So she basically an actor as well. So all that fake crying she was doing when Charlie Kirk got assassinated, all them tears and all them press conferences and going on stage and doing all that, that was all in that. That was all in that. That was all the
It's an actor.
dapping her eyes, the tears and the makeup and all. Yeah, all that was in that. That's why Drewski did the skit he did. She mad because Drewski did that skit. I thought the skit was funny as hell. That sketch was funny. So she mad because Drewski did the sketch, the whole sketch with her with all that fake crying and shit, and how she be acting. So it is what it is.
For 2 seasons between 2014 and 2015, and Erika wanted in.
At a great point, just career-wise, to be able to take on this type of endeavor. And I feel like I have something.
You can send it. You want to send us information? You can send it to either Night and Day _network on Instagram, or you can send it to the email ndepent@gmail.com. So any information y'all want to send us, y'all can send it there. All right. If you send it to the Instagram, then we can check it now. Night and Day _network. All right.
very unique to offer this whole experience in general. Like I said, I'm very coachable. I'm very trainable.
Coachable, trainable. Now, those words might sound innocent, but when you understand the world she was trying to enter and who ran that world, those words take on a very different weight. Because here's the thing about Diane von Furstenberg. She's not just a fashion icon. She's deeply embedded in elite social circles, circles that overlap with powerful political figures, billionaire investors, and
We having minor technical difficulties, y'all. Just hold on real quick. The audio. We lost Jr. He had the video up. Just give us a second here. Yeah, but it definitely seemed like these people are actors, man. I wouldn't trust any of them. This Erika Kirk chick, I definitely wouldn't trust her, for sure. These individuals out here, it just seems like they put these individuals out here just to play in our faces, y'all. That's for sure. These all be actors and actresses. I like we said before, we wouldn't even be surprised if this Charlie Kirk character, like he wasn't really assassinated and he's somewhere chilling somewhere with a new identity. I wouldn't even put it past them.
Yeah, I got kicked out the goddamn stream yard and shit. I didn't even know that.
I noticed. Yeah, I didn't even realize it at first. And I'm like, damn, I thought the video froze.
Nah, I got kicked out, y'all. So it stopped where she said she was flexible to get on a plane, living out of the suitcase. So what I said, I don't know if y'all caught what I said because I got kicked out. What I was saying is that she's been around. That pageant she did with Trump was in like 2010, 2011. So she's been around ever since then. Remember, Epstein didn't get locked up to 2019. So guaranteed she some came across Epstein at one point in time. You know what I mean? Because she was in a mix. She said she was flexible to live. She was living out of the suitcase, going on hopping plane to plane. So you mean to tell me she never been on Epstein plane?
she's deeply
Who
embedded
knows?
in elite social
Let's keep
circles,
going.
circles that overlap with powerful political figures, billionaire investors, and yes, names that appear in Jeffrey Epstein's infamous Little Black Book. Specifically, Diane von Furstenberg's son, Alexander von Furstenberg, is listed in that book. And if that wasn't enough, photographs from the mid 2000s show Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's right hand, attending DVF fashion shows during the exact years Epstein's network was operating at full capacity.
Bingo, that right there. If Ghislaine was attending, pageants around that time, then you guarantee that she came across Erika Kirk came across Ghislaine Maxwell. So
So she was
When
part of
Eric
that network, like we thought.
right, she's part of that network. Facts. Yep. All these
Playing
people
in
was
our
in
faces.
yeah, all these people was in cahoots. Why you think Erika Kirk is being moved up in position? She played the game. She's been around. She's playing the game. She's been around playing the game. That's why they putting her in position. Like, come on now.
All right, so this is my one question. Why don't we have the pitchforks and the torches out yet
Tiki torches,
and
right?
storming the castle? That's my only
They
question. Because we know
right,
they're all in cahoots together. All of them.
right. They doing this No Kings March. It need to be we need to prosecute Epstein March. I mean Epstein people that was in cahoots with Epstein March. The pedophiles and the grapists and the traffickers. No Kings March. This is crazy. That's what I'm saying. It
Plain
seems
in our
like,
faces.
hey, like people be out there protesting for the wrong things, man. Tell you the truth, like it be mainstream media sponsored too.
Says this.
If you say you got to be on a plane in a half hour and you have to pack your stuff and go, I'm on it. I'm kind of like a gypsy. I don't mind. I don't mind living out of a suitcase. I'm used to it, and that's something that I'm okay with.
You have to ask yourself, what kind of lifestyle was she describing? Ready to leave in 30 minutes, living out of suitcases, comfortable with constant travel at a moment's notice? That doesn't sound like a small town girl dreaming of fashion school. That sounds like someone who was already embedded in a lifestyle that required that kind of flexibility. And she admits openly in that same audition.
I don't know how to sew and cut. I mean, I can sew a pillow together, but I can't take fabrics and create this couture dress. That's not me.
She had no fashion training, no formal design skills. So what exactly was she offering? Herself, her look, her willingness to be trainable. And in the world of elite fashion, modeling, and pageantry, that phrase carries a very specific meaning. Which brings us to the pageants, because around the same period, Erika entered the Miss USA system, and in 2012, she won.
Come on down, Phoenix, Erika Franzbay.
Yeah, she was Miss Phoenix, Miss Arizona.
Scottsdale, Caitlin Willenship. That means you're new Miss Arizona USA 2012.
Miss Arizona USA, a title that placed her directly inside the pageant organization that was, at the time, owned by Donald Trump. Now, pageants might seem glamorous from the outside, but people who've studied Epstein's network have pointed out something uncomfortable for years. Pageants and modeling agencies were often used as recruiting grounds. They're networking machines.
Right.
Contestants meet modeling agencies, casting directors, wealthy sponsors, and media
Right.
executives. They're evaluated, they're categorized, and the ones who stand out, they get pulled into higher circles.
Right, and that's what just happened with her. She was doing those like ladies said, the pageants are definitely recruiting centers for, you know what I mean, for them. And look what position she in now. She in the head of a Turning Point USA, which is, hundreds of $1 million whatever you call it, organization. You know what I'm saying? So, and she got direct connects with Trump and the rest of those billionaires. So this showing you
Whole
right
network.
here,
That's
yeah,
the whole
she's part,
network right
right,
there.
she's part of the whole network, bro. And they're using her to basically they're using her as the puppet.
It's Trump, Ghislaine, you know what I mean? And you got Jeff, and then you got that, and they work with Israel, and they recruit all these women for the honeypot operations, so they can
Right.
start using them to blackmail certain politicians and certain powerful people in key positions.
Right.
That's the organization right there, and it's just one aspect of it.
Right.
It's just one aspect.
Facts.
After her win, Erika reportedly started working as a casting director herself,
Okay,
helping
straight widow.
evaluate and
Okay.
select other young women for opportunities. Think about that. She went from being selected to doing the selecting. And that's when the online conversation around the so-called Miss USA pipeline theory started gaining serious traction, because people weren't just asking about Erika anymore, they were asking about the entire system. Who else came through that pipeline? Where did those girls end up? And who was waiting at the other end? But the story doesn't stop at pageants, because shortly after those pageant years, Erika and her mother Lori launched something that raised even more eyebrows. a charity called Romanian Angels. On the surface, it was humanitarian work, helping children and orphans in Romania, and Erika spoke publicly about the effort.
And he was over there, we did the same thing. Like, he showed us, these are the orphanages we work with, this is the hospital that we helped rebuild. Like, amazing humanitarian things that no one talks about that our troops are doing over there.
She's talking about working alongside military personnel, visiting orphanages, touring hospitals, and here's where things take a turn. Erika publicly thanked a man named Colonel Otto Buescher for helping with the project. And yes, this is the same Colonel Otto Buescher who would later be accused of running a trafficking operation involving children overseas. Let me say that again. The man Erika personally thanked for helping her charity work in Romania was later accused of horrific crimes against minors. And if
You want to
that
pause
wasn't
this
enough
real
to make your
quick?
stomach turn, here's what
Yep.
See, that's what they do. They hide they evil deeds under humanitarian work. You guys have to be very careful when you see these billionaires getting together and they doing this so-called humanitarian work. A lot of that be a cover up. For a lot of it be a cover up for human trafficking and human experimentation. Like that's the gist of it all. They
Right.
love trying to use that stuff to basically have you distracted and think, "Oh, look at them. They care about people. Look, they taking their billions of dollars and they helping these unfortunate kids and all this stuff." And those be the kids that they be trafficking. It's crazy.
Right. Wow.
came next. Newly unsealed documents from lawsuits connected to Epstein revealed financial records showing a $30,000 payment sent to a Romanian bank account through a foundation tied to Epstein himself.
It's a coincidence that like this happens to be the university that Jeffrey Epstein was pouring all of his money into, by the way, and he's facilitating models from Romania beginning in 2009. Do you think all of this is just one big coincidence and we are the conspiracy theorists?
Romania, the same country where Erika was running her charity, the same area where Epstein's money was flowing, the same area where investigators say he specifically targeted victims. Anyone else notice this when going through the files? It really bugs me. He seems to have specifically targeted Eastern European women. It was obviously ethnically motivated. Eastern European governments need to take a more proactive stance towards this. We were the main victims. And Erika was there, on the ground, working with orphanages, thanking military officials who would later face trafficking accusations. Coincidence? And now, here we are. Because when rumors about the alleged Epstein drive tapes started circulating online, everything people had been quietly researching about Erika Kirk suddenly became front-page conversation. The speculation is that these tapes, if they exist, could contain information connecting elite figures to Epstein's network in ways we haven't seen before. And whether or not those tapes are ever verified, the discussion around them has already done something irreversible. It ripped open Erika Kirk's past. People started sharing the audition tapes. They started pulling up their Romania charity connections. They started mapping her movements through the pageant world, the fashion industry, and the international travel she casually bragged about in interviews. And suddenly, a woman who had successfully rebranded herself as a conservative Christian wife was facing questions she clearly never prepared to answer. Reports online suggest Erika has gone quiet. Some sources claim she's been visibly distressed as the pressure mounts. Whether that's true or exaggerated, one thing is clear. She hasn't addressed any of this publicly. And that silence, it's deafening. Meanwhile, someone has been speaking up. Candace Owens. Now, Candace has never been afraid to touch controversial topics, and when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein, she's been one of the loudest voices demanding full transparency. So when the latest wave of speculation started targeting figures connected to conservative circles, Candace didn't stay quiet. She pushed back hard. According to Candace, what's happening online is a perfect example of selective narratives. She argued that certain stories get amplified while others get buried, depending on who benefits. Her supporters say she's highlighting the hypocrisy in how media and online mobs operate. They say she's asking the real questions about why some names get dragged through the mud while others, names far more directly connected to Epstein, remain protected. Her critics? They say she's deflecting. They say she's protecting her political allies instead of demanding accountability across the board. But here's what's interesting. Candace hasn't defended Erika Kirk specifically. She hasn't said the questions being raised are unfair. What she has done is point out that the conversation keeps getting steered in very specific directions, while other bigger fish swim away untouched. And honestly, she might have a point. Because while the internet obsesses over Erika's audition tapes and charity work, there are names in Epstein's actual flight logs, names in his black book that have faced almost zero public scrutiny. So, is Erika Kirk guilty of something? Or is she just an easy target because of who she married?
No, she's the distraction. That's what she is. She's the distraction for the bigger fish. That's why they throw these people out in front, and they put all the all the shit online about them, and they allow all that shit to be the focal point to take the focus off of them. That's what all this shit really been about, to take the focus off who we need to be talking about, and that's all the people that was on the Epstein list, those who was flying on those planes with them back and forth to the island and flying all over the world. Yeah.
It's way
That's
bigger
the
than
question.
conservative and liberal too.
Yeah.
People be saying, "Oh, the conservatives or the liberals." And all. It seemed like both conservatives and liberals was dealing with Epstein.
Yeah.
That's what we have to understand. They both sides was dealing with Epstein, y'all.
And they all support Israel. Both sides.
Right. Facts.
Both sides. Matter of fact, I need to before we got to switch to get to this Trump business real quick. Before we get into that, this live stream is sponsored by 90dayherbals.com. Let's get into this quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with more information. Let's get into it.
If you crave nature but still shop online, Night and Day Herbals is your dream come true. Discover premium herbal soaps, shampoos, and CBD products. All organic, all for you. Shop now at nightandayherbals.com.
All right, y'all. The link to this shop is in the description and the QR code in the top right corner. Let me move the comment. Yeah, you can get to the website. We sell nothing but natural herbal products on there, from hair care to skincare products, also in the form of CBD cigarettes, pre-rolls, and trim. And we have a lot more other products on there. So make sure y'all check us out, man. Shop with us. And we definitely appreciate y'all for the support and all the great work we're doing. Liking the videos, sharing the videos. Shout out to y'all that been sending us information as well. We appreciate all the support y'all been showing, man. Definitely. It definitely goes unnoticed. So let's get into it. Let's get into this, man. So this is Trump back in the 80s. I don't know if this is 80s, early 90s, but this proves right here that the plans that they have be 20, 30 years ahead, even further back than that. But this whole Iran thing always been a thing for them to go into Iran and take over the resources. And they're actually doing it years later with this man that was speaking about it 30 years, 40 years earlier, 30 years earlier. So let's get into this real quick. Let me know if y'all can hear this. This is when I seen this shit, I'm like, oh yeah, this is just basically confirms what we've been talking about anyway.
Right.
So
What if we would go in and take over some of their oil, which is along the sea?
How would you do that? Would you send in the Marines? Would you take a chance in the war?
Let them have Iran. You take their oil. That's what
How?
How?
I mean, do we want a war? What do you mean
go
we
in,
take their oil?
You go in. You're
How
gonna have
do
a
we
war,
go
Barbara.
in?
You're going to have a war by being weak.
Okay, how do we go in? What do we do?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
You're going to have a war, and it's going to start in the Middle East.
What if the Soviet Union said, you do this to Iran, we're going to come in?
I don't believe they'd do it. The next time Iran attacks this country, go in and grab one of their big oil installations. And I mean grab it and keep it. And get back your losses, because this country has lost plenty because of Iran. Why couldn't we go in and take over some of their oil, which is along the sea?
How would you do that? Would you send in the Marines? Would you take a chance in a war?
Let them have Iran. You take their oil. That's what
How?
How?
I mean, do we want a war? What do you mean
go
we
in,
take their oil?
You go in. You're
How
gonna have
do
a
we
war,
go
Barbara.
in?
You're going to have a war by being weak.
Okay, how do we go in? What do we do?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
You're going to have a war. And it's going to start in the Middle East.
What if the Soviet Union said, you do this to Iran, we're going to come in?
I don't believe they'd do it. The next time Iran attacks this country, go in and grab one of their big oil installations. And I mean grab it and keep it. And get back your losses, because this country has lost plenty because of Iran. Why?
Now, isn't that what they doing right now? Isn't that exactly what they doing? That's what, as we speak, isn't that what's taking place now? Exactly the plan he laid out with Barbara, that interview with Barbara Walters is actually playing out in real time right now, as we speak.
And that fake assassination attempt, who did he blame?
Iran.
Yep, he said Iran was the one that was behind that fake assassination attempt on his life. That was to give him a reason even more to go over there. So he just wanted to just compile different reasons, rather true or false, to go into Iran to take their oil.
We need y'all to understand, all these people are actors.
Yep.
That's the point of this. All these people are actors. All these politicians and all these people that they're presenting out in front of us to basically lay out the play. These are actors, man. Trump is an actor.
Criminal actors, though. They criminals at the same time.
He's a freaking actor.
Sure.
He's a freaking actors. Let me pull
And
up
don't
that.
think just because we saying this about Trump that we for the other side. F the other side too. We not for no Democrats or no Republicans. All of it is BS. All these individuals work with Israel. All of them work with Epstein. All of them do the same crimes against humanity all around the world.
Right.
They all do. No more left and right, y'all. No more left and right. That's BS.
Right. Facts. Now this is former CIA Robert David Steele.
Is a CIA case manager.
Right.
So that goes to show you how high up he was in the CIA. He's a whistleblower.
I mean, he passed away now, but yeah, he was basically exposing that shit. All right, so let's get into this real quick. Let me know if y'all can hear it.
Wars are in fact a racket. Basically, the Marine Corps has been used as an enforcer for U.S. corporations. Well, behind the U.S. corporations are the banks. And behind the banks are a few wealthy banking families, including the Rothschilds in Europe and the Rockefellers in the United States. And it turns out that wars and drugs and genocide and all these other things, including uncontrolled infectious disease, are a form of eugenics. They are harvesting profit from people that they think deserve to die. And if they can make a profit while these people die, that's good. If they can make a profit by redlining districts that fall down into drug decay and crime, they can then pick that real estate up for nothing and explode it in a very financially profitable way. I think we need to close down the Federal Reserve. We need to print our own money, which is backed by the good faith and will of the American people, rather than borrow money from the banks, particularly when the borrowing is arranged at very bad rates, and it's arranged at the expense of the taxpayer and for the benefit of this few. Wars are, in fact, a racket. Basically, the Marine Corps has been used as an enforcer for U.S. corporations. Well, behind the U.S. corporations.
And that's what we was talking about yesterday, that war is big business. And it's all to benefit the corporation. It never benefits the people. These wars has nothing to do with the American citizens, or any wars in the world for that matter, has nothing to do with the citizens. It's all for the corporations. That's all it benefits.
That's why they in Iran right now, stealing the oil and the resources out of
Right.
Iran. That's why they was in Venezuela, stealing the resources out of Venezuela while kidnapping the president and his wife over there. That's why they talking about invading Cuba. Like
Yep.
all this stuff that they doing is like this ex-CIA case manager said, they're doing it as a racket. It's a
Right.
racket. They making money off of it. They also get to do the blood sacrifices because we sending our young kids into war to die.
Basically.
You know, and they're not dying to protect the United States. They dying to protect these corporations and these banks. And
That
that's what we have to start when people start arguing about which party is more wicked and all this type. Just think about that. Both parties send kids over there to die for these corporations. It don't matter what party it is. That all that stuff is BS. All that political nonsense, and both sides commit crimes against humanity, and that's what we need to focus on.
Right.
These wicked individuals that we let lead us and tax us is committing crimes against humanity all over the world for profit. That's what we need to be focused on. F all that Democrat versus Republican stuff. Let's focus on the reality of what's happening here and how we're being affected.
All right. And on top of the bat, these people are all just pedophiles and sex traffickers. At that, like they get their power by, you know, using children, sacrifices, and all that. That's what they into. So I wanted to pull this video up before we get out of here. This is the last piece of this live stream. I'm gonna pull up this real quick, because I
Make sure
think
y'all
this
like
is,
and share this video, y'all.
yeah. Please do that. All right, let me see if I can pull this up. I think I got it. Is this it? This one. Yeah, all right. So this is the Rothschild revelations. My family created Israel. This is Jacob Rothschild in his own words, right here, that they're the ones that created Israel. Back in 1942?
1948.
1948. All right, this is Jacob Rothschild right here. Let's get into it.
In modern Jewish history, and it begins with 3 words. Dear Lord Rothschild.
Dear Lord Rothschild, I have much pleasure in conveying to you, on behalf of His Majesty's government, the following declaration of sympathy with Jewish Zionist aspirations, which has been submitted to and approved by the Cabinet.
Why was it that this letter was sent by the Foreign Secretary to your great uncle Walter?
It's an interesting question because it was primarily a movement from Eastern Europe, but they didn't clarify who was in charge of that movement. And in addition, it was, after all, in Great Britain. So they felt that the Rothschild family should be the one to whom it was addressed. And Walter was Lord Rothschild, and he was a Zionist. And those really are the background reasons.
So Walter received the Balfour Declaration, and I have a copy here. And I wonder if I could possibly ask you to read it for us.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. I'm going to put on my spectacles to make sure I read it accurately. His Majesty's government view with favour the establishment of Palestine as a national home for the Jewish people, and will use their best endeavours to facilitate the achievement of this object, it being clearly understood that nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine, or the rights and political status enjoyed by Jews in any other country. I should be grateful if you would bring this declaration to the knowledge of the Zionist Federation. Yours, Arthur Balfour.
And here it is, the Balfour Declaration. What do you feel when you see it here?
I genuinely feel it's one of the most extraordinary moments in the history of the Jewish people. If you think it took 3,000 years.
So that's the declaration right there of Israel, right there. Just like we have the Declaration of Independence, that's their declaration written. And this, they, like you said, Israel is sponsored by the Rothschild. Rothschilds is the one that created Israel.
And basically the head of the Zionists was Walter Rothschild.
Where Walter Rothschild? His uncle.
His uncle. Yep.
His uncle. Yeah.
And that's who owns Israel right now.
Right.
To get to this. And then you say, how did this miracle happen?
This is
It's the most incredible piece of opportunism. I mean, if you think you had an impoverished would-be scientist, Chaim Weizmann, who somehow gets to England, meets a few people, including members of my family, seduces them. He has such great charm and conviction. He gets to Balfour, and he unbelievably persuades Balfour and Lloyd George, the Prime Minister, and most of the ministers, that this idea of the national home for Jews should be allowed to take place. I mean, it's so unlikely. And then he's, starts to fight a difficult battle with the British cabinet, and this letter goes through 5 drafts, as you know. And in the end, it comes out as a rather compromising letter. I mean, the essential point is there for the Jewish community to fasten on to. You have the first bit, which promises a national home rather than the national home. And then you have the bit that nothing that's to be done should in any way harm the Arab community. But you come back to the big point, which is that this is perhaps the greatest event in Jewish life for thousands of years. And it's a miracle.
And that's it. That's right there, just showing y'all that these are the pricks that run Israel. That's behind everything that's taking place. They're behind everything right now that's taking place.
And who are the names that Robert Still just named? Said who we going to war for? He said the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers.
Yeah.
Here you got a Rothschild right here saying that they started the city-state of Israel in Palestine.
Right. Facts.
With the understanding that they supposed to let Palestine, live out their culture, as well as the Jews live out their culture in peace, but that never happened. As we can see, they just went in there and became parasites. Palestine let them settle there from East Europe, settled in that area in Palestine, and they ended up becoming freaking vampires and leeching off of Palestine. And it was Walter Rothschild that was leading the pack that started Israel. Walter Rothschild. You just seen it yourself. His nephew just told you himself. So this is just telling you, this is them telling you themselves who they are. Now we know that's not the Holy Land.
Right.
We know they not real. They not the Hebrews.
Nope.
They some Jews. The Zionists. They're not Hebrew. People think that that's the Holy Land and the actual Israel from the Bible. You got to be out of your damn mind if you think that. These Zionists don't have nothing to do with the real actual Hebrews, the Bible, or Israel, the Bible. This Zionist stuff is a political movement.
Facts.
It's a political movement, right?
Has
Synagogue of Satan.
Right.
Synagogue of Satan. Ain't got nothing to do with the spiritual text.
All right, so it says here, what did Walter Rothschild lose? It said Rothschild had a dark secret. He was being blackmailed by the wealthy aristocrats.
Yo, JR, you on mute? Maybe he got kicked out again. All right, he got kicked out again. I thought he was making a point and got kicked out. But yeah, you can't, like somebody just said, you can't make this stuff up. Yeah, JR got kicked off the stream again. I ain't even peeped that. But yeah, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, y'all see the scam for what it is, man. These people took over Palestine, set up their own regime, and basically started operating and basically blackmailing everybody around the world so they can basically take key points around the world and basically take over in the manner that they've taken over today. And all of our presidents worked with them. All of our presidents. It don't matter if they were Democrat or Republican. They work with these people, these Zionists, and they own the whole banking system, the global banking system.
I don't know if y'all heard me reading about Rothschild being blackmailed or some shit.
You
They
got
cut me
kicked
out.
out. Yeah, it
Damn,
cut you out.
Dang.
They kicking you off the stream. They don't like.
Yeah, they don't like me talking this shit.
They don't like us talking this shit. They ain't gonna
Right.
like this live stream that we just did.
Right. So it said
And it's all facts.
All right, so this is what I had read before they kicked me out. I said Rothschild had a dark secret. He was being blackmailed by a wealthy, aristocratic former mistress, aided by her husband. This woman eventually forced Rothschild in 1931 to sell the better part of the ornithological collection to the American Museum of Natural History for $225,000. About $1 specimen. So they saying he was blackmailed by aristocratic former mistress. They didn't say who the aristocratic person was. So he even show you blackmail was going on. Well, blackmail always been part of the upper
They
echelon.
love blackmail. They love blackmail.
So Walter Rothschild got blackmailed by aristocratic former mistress. They never said who the aristocratic mistress was. So most likely it was probably blackmailed by Orsini, one of those one of them Italian families that's over the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and them.
Right. The aristocratic families.
Yeah. So and it was a mistress of one of the aristocratic figures that blackmailed Walter Rothschild. So Walter Rothschild was the banker, politician, zoologist, and a soldier who was a member of the Rothschild family. As leader of the Zionists, he was presented with the Balfour Declaration, which pledged British support for Jewish national home in Palestine. That shows you right there. So these were the folks that set up Israel.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Walter Rothschild, second Baron D. Rothschild.
And they're being controlled by the aristocratic families.
Right.
Like we told y'all yesterday. Like now this is actual proof of what we've been saying is 100% truth.
Right.
We told you at the top of the pyramid, you got the families that's running the Vatican, and these aristocratic families, and the families that's under them are these Rothschilds and Rockefellers. They're under these aristocratic families. These aristocratic families are the ones who's been basically around since ancient Rome.
Yeah,
and before a little bit before. Like this, and they still out there. They still got their families are still out there. They still got the representatives out there, but you will never see them on the news. Like you see how you seen Jacob Rothschild on the news reading that shit. You will never see one of them aristocratic families, descendants. You will never see them on the news. They own the news, and they call them that's who you call that's the black nobility. And y'all can look this up. Y'all can look this up.
Orsini family, an ancient Italian noble family, part of the black nobility. They produce popes, cardinals, and their influence is peaking in medieval and Renaissance Rome. So the Rothschild family didn't come to the 19th century. So that's the banking dynasty who gained massive international financial power. Now they're trying to say they lying on Google and they trying to say no, the Orsini family is not over the Rothschilds, which we know that's bullshit. We know that's right. We know that's right.
That's funny.
Yeah,
That's funny as hell.
right,
We all know that's a lie. Well, those of us who's been following this shit and been doing the actual research, we
right.
know who's running shit. We know Rome never really fell. We know that. We know Rome is alive in full effect in America and is in its
I mean,
extension
we
of
still go
Rome.
by the Roman calendar, so that tells
Right.
you right there that we still under the Roman Empire because we still go by the Roman calendar.
Right.
But
Which is
one place,
technically the Gregorian calendar, but the
right?
Gregorian calendar is literally the Roman calendar. It's
See,
literally a derivative of it. It's the same thing.
see, one place they wasn't able to take over and influence was Ethiopia. They was not able to conquer Ethiopia. Um, I don't know what Ethiopia as far as like we know they're under a different whole calendar, a whole different type of time zone and shit. But far as I mean, we don't know if they was influenced or blackmailed or they got some people in there that actually they put some people in position. Really haven't did the research on that, but as far as I know, that they wasn't able to conquer Ethiopia. Like all right, let me see the brochure. Yeah, Google be lying sometimes too. They try to
Oh
say that
yeah.
Orsini, there's no credible historical evidence to suggest that Orsini's control or is superior to the Rothschild shit. Well, do your
Oh,
research on the Orsini.
they not
Right, they
going to
not
tell
going
you
to
they
right.
don't.
All right, so the house of the Orsinis was an Italian noble family. It was most influential family in the medieval time and the Renaissance of Rome. Members of the Orsini include popes Stephen II, Paul I, uh, Celestine III, Nicholas III, Benedict. Um, who else? Oh, and other significant political religion figures. The Orsinis are part of the black nobility who were Rome aristocratic families who supported the Pope in the papal states. So countries they had influences: the papal states, Kingdom of Naples, uh, County of Palatine. Uh, there's a whole bunch of shit on here. There's a lot of shit on here, but yeah. So according to the family legend, Orsini is a descendant of Julio Claudian dynasty of ancient Rome. That's who their extension from. That's who they descendants from. The Julio Claudian dynasty of ancient Rome. So these people power go back hundreds and hundreds of years. Probably like around Jesus time. Yep. So and it's a lot more black nobility families that's attached to that shit. But yeah, we just going over a little bit of it.
Right.
You said look at all the maps. Yeah, all the maps are not historically accurate at all. No shit, but there's maps that go back to where the natives, with the tribes was part of, when before it was United States, when it was just the Americas. Like it's maps that show that each state where each tribe was at, like in the Americas. So this land was already occupied, fully occupied before the Europeans showed up. You know what I'm saying? So
Hell yeah. Yeah, all four corners of the earth was
right,
occupied.
right. So they with that whole Christopher Columbus bullshit, Talking about he discovered America for who? Not for the natives that already
It was
been
for
here.
the Colano. It was for
For
the
the Kalana, right?
Colano uh black nobility family.
Right.
The Collins. And they changed their name to the Collins. They own this shit over here, man. They basically divided the land up amongst themselves, and they got their representatives basically taking charge of the land. And their corporation that they own, the shareholders of, is the United States of America. Is their corporation.
Right.
And they're shareholders. And then the American citizens are used as the merchandise. We're the products of the
Right.
corporation.
Right. And our social security numbers is just
That's like our barcode.
facts. And I know most of y'all probably heard about our birth. I mean our social security numbers being used to play on the stock
Commerce
market.
code.
Yeah, because
The
we're
commerce code.
yeah, because we're basically collateral to the bankers, and that's why they have us working for to basically pay pay the
Because they
bankers
see us
back.
as cattle. They see us as goods. That's why they think they're able to impose mandatory vaccines and mandatory this and all that. And basically because they actually treat us like we're just the goods of the United States corporation.
Yeah, so so the Colonna and the Orsini families considered the highest and the most prominent among the black nobility, papal nobility of Rome, having historically produced multiple popes, cardinals, and political leaders. They maintained immense power within the Vatican and Rome society, especially after siding with Pope Pius in 1870. So that's what we telling y'all who's still running this shit. It's the Colonna and the Orsinis. They're the highest in the black nobility families. And they said they still running Vatican and Rome and in the whole Roman society. They still run that shit. You don't never see none of these people in the media or none of that shit.
You won't. You won't see them there. They work out of the shadows. And they own everything. They literally own everything.
You said who's that on the side of Netanyahu? You know what? I don't know. Somebody had put this video up and shit. We was like, yeah, we could use this as a background. Now this is not AI. This is actually cosplay.
From a
I don't
No
know.
Kings protest.
Yeah, No Kings
This
protest.
was from
Right.
a No Kings protest.
What state is this in? Or is this overseas? What state is this in?
I don't even know.
I can't even tell.
It looks European, tell you the
Yeah,
truth.
that's what I thought. It looks like it's in Great Britain some damn where. Can any of y'all tell where this shit is located? Yeah, but they did the whole I don't know. Trump, y'all. I don't know who the rest of these people are. I can't really tell.
And we don't give a shit about none of these politicians. Don't think just because we got this up here that we for like we Democrats or
I
some
mean,
shit like that. We ain't none of that shit.
I don't think people know that. I don't think people think that because the way we talk, we against all this. We telling you who's at the top. That
Right.
this left and right shit don't mean nothing compared
It
to
damn sure don't.
the broader vast things of who really running this shit. Why would we side with any of these politicians after we telling you who's really running this shit? That don't make sense.
Right. Right. Because they're all controlled by these aristocratic families.
So it says role of significance. These families were titled elites, loyal to the papacy, who to honor the Pope's self. After 1870 takeover of Rome, they closed the polished doors in mourning, earning the black nobility. Key figures. The notable figures included Prince Fabrizio, or Fabrizio Massimo, Prince Francesco, Maria Raspole. These Italian names is crazy. And the 10th Prince of it says Don Scipione, the second Borgia. That the Italian names is crazy, but these are the people that um these are the key figures of those families. It says while the term the black nobility specifically applied to Roman aristocratic families who held court roles of the Vatican post 1870, they often trace their lineage back to centuries, with some like the the Ruspoli dating back to the 9th century. So that's how far they shit go back to the 9th century.
And what
So
did Kanye say on that one interview? Who's gonna be the Medici family
yeah,
and
right,
let me create more?
right, the Medici family.
And you see Ye been talking about the black nobility too.
Yeah, right.
Ye been speaking out against the black nobility in Israel.
Right.
But then he is side with somebody like Adolf Hitler, and Adolf Hitler was funded by these same individuals. They fund both sides. Like that
So
Adolf Hitler character
right,
it's funny how they fund all sides and they make you think that one side is against the other side. And that's their game plan. That's always been their game plan.
right.
The Adolf Hitler was literally funded by the Zionists.
Wasn't Rockefeller and them sending funding over there?
Right. Right. The Rothschilds and the Rockefellers helped fund the Nazi movement. Yes. And
So the how? Yeah,
that's what they do.
right.
Cause they kill off their own people. They kill off their own people just to say the other side did it. They do that all the time.
Right.
They did that in the United States with the World Trade Center bombings. They say they blame it on Osama bin Laden when it was our own government working with the Mossad to bring down the towers.
So this is interesting right here. What I just came upon with the Medici. So the House of Medici was the powerful Florentine banking dynasty, 15th and 18th century, that rose from the commoners to the rulers of Florence and European power brokers. They funded the Renaissance, patronized artists like Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci, and produced 4 popes and 2 queens of France, defining the culture epoch. So the Medicis was actually a banking family way before the Rothschilds was.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
The Medici family is the aristocratic family. The Rothschilds aren't.
right. And they the ones that funded the Renaissance.
Right. That's why Ye said, "Who's going to be the Medici family and
Right.
let me create more?"
Now you gotta
Because
realize,
the Medici family is the one that basically put Michelangelo,
yeah,
Leonardo da Vinci, and all them motherfuckers on.
yeah, they're basically, so the Medici is the ones that funded all the paintings you see of Jesus and all the
Right.
paintings all over around the world of the blind hair, blue eyed Jesus and
Right.
all that. That's the Medici family was responsible for creating that, creating that whole falsified Jesus.
Right.
All the paintings you see on murals around, on sailors and all that shit, that's the Medici's work. Now, the Russians actually got the real paintings, in which we got a book. What's the book that we had bought? That book was like
Russian icons.
Russian
Russian
icon.
icons.
That
Yes.
book was like $500-$600, right? The Russian icon books got the real pictures of those biblical figures, and
Right.
they're all melanated figures. They all melanated figures. So
Right.
the same pictures you see around the world that Michelangelo and them painted, the white Jesus and all these figures, that there's melanated figures that the Russian icons actually has the real paintings of those figures. So
And they paid those artists big money to repaint those same paintings, but make them
Right.
white, make them look
Right.
European.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, and that's the truth of it all. And you see, the Medici family also produced queens, kings and
Queens and
queens,
queens, right?
and
France.
popes.
Yep. Popes. Now this is how far they banking go back. Giovanni di Medici, 1360 to 1429, founded the Medici Bank, established the family immense wealth. So their bank goes back to the 1300s.
Hmm.
Their banking family goes back to the 1300s.
And basically, the Rothschilds use their blueprint.
Right.
Because the Rothschilds are just a extension of the Medici family and
Right.
those aristocratic families. They're just an extension. They took the same blueprint that they used, and they basically implemented that same blueprint.
Right.
And that's basically loaning money to nations,
right,
and bankrupting them so they'd be in debt to you.
So it says the Renaissance, their support of art, art, let me see, architecture and science. That's what they basically supported. What they funded the most was the art, which is the shit we see all around the world, the pictures of Jesus and all that. Architecture work, all the buildings we see that's have certain shapes, funny shapes and all that. They're behind a lot of the architectural work and science. So, and let me see, they dominated Florentine politics for 3 centuries. What you was gonna say, bro?
Niggas like us ain't supposed to be this informative.
Right. So the legacy, the Medici family, they claim ended back in 18th century, which we know that's a goddamn lie. But their legacy lives on through collection art, through art collections, the Uffizi's gallery, and architectural impact in Florence. These yeah. So that's the house the Medici. So there was the most powerful banking family in the world. You said throw a penny. Yeah, so all this shit is, yeah, man. So
Please like and share this
yeah,
video,
like
y'all.
share this video, y'all. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure, like we said, support our website, 90dayherbals.com as well. The link's in the description of this video. The QR code is in the top right corner if you want to get to the website from another device. And we appreciate y'all tuning in, man. We definitely we're gonna keep the information flowing, man. So we'll be back live soon. And we appreciate y'all tuning in.
Definitely.
Yes, indeed. And on that note, I guess anything else?
Nope. We get out of here, y'all.
All right, y'all. Peace.
I'm not even gonna lie. The joint pain I deal with every day will slow me all the way down. But ever since I started using this right here, Night and Day Pain Relief Balm, everything changed. And within minutes, I feel the difference. Like real relief. Now I can clean my whole house without even thinking about the pain. As a nurse, I'm on my feet all day. And this right here helps me get through my entire shift. I can actually enjoy time with my kids now. Go outside, be active, without hurting the whole time. It feels good to just live again. Honestly, if it wasn't for Night and Day Pain Relief Balm, I don't think I'd have the quality of life I have right now.
Comfort slows you down? Reach for natural relief. Night and Day Hemp's extra strength CBD pain relief balm melts into aching muscles, delivering warmth you can feel. Soothe your body naturally. Feel free to move again. Night and Day Hemp balm melts away tension so you can enjoy every moment. Feel the difference fast. Real relief, real results. Order now at Night and Day Herbals.